distinguished staff, very highly intelligent and motivated students, I bring to you greetings from all over the world, wherever I go. It's always a pleasure to be in the company of young people. मैं पहले ही आपसे पूछ लेता हूँ, अगर मेरा एक्सेंट आपकी समझ में ना आए तो किसी को चाहिए आप एक हाथ उठा लें, मैं हिंदी में बोलूँगा. So I'll start in English, but if you have some trouble understanding me, I'll shift to Hindi. Is that fair? See, we had a very beautiful beginning. I was very impressed with the introduction that was given by the young lady. What was the name of the young lady?
Two girls, Shruti Parvati and one more girl.
Hiba and Parvati. Beautiful introduction. Because it started with light. The ceremony of lighting a candle is a beautiful ceremony. Knowledge is light. It is a gift from God. He gives it to whom He pleases. It is not something that you can inherit, or it is not something that you can pass on to other people as you do pass on, for instance, your property. And in this day and age, when human progress is limited only by the speed of light and the human capacity to absorb change, it is very important for us to understand the nature of knowledge. I'm not going to give a big speech in here. What I want to do is to listen to you because I learned from you. But by way of introduction, I would like to point out the following. But there was not much long ago, say 100 years ago, 200 years ago, this part of India was considered the cradle of knowledge. There have been so many great people who have emerged from the same soil that we today call Uttar Pradesh. I'm sure you have heard the name of Bhattacharya. I'm sure you all did. You know what contributions he made, the contributions to astronomy and mathematics, how, for instance, what he did was transmitted to people in the Middle East, and how they developed it further. I'll just give you an example of it. See, in the year 700, the king of Baghdad, his name was, he was called the Khalifa. It does not matter what his name is because you cannot remember it anyway. He wanted to found a new city. And he looked for a place because the empire had expanded by the river Tigris, where there's a bend. If you go there, you'll see there's a little bend even today. And he said, I'm going to found a new capital. But to found a new capital, not only do you know a place, but you must also have an architect who understands mathematics. Because if you're trying to lay out a big city, you must know something about town planning and the other disciplines that go into building a large city. So he looked around the entire kingdom, entire empire, and he came up with the name of Abu Hanifa. Those who are followers of a certain tradition are familiar with the name of Imam Abu Hanifa, one of the greatest of human beings who lived. In any case, not only was he a great jurist, he was also a great scientist. He had studied the book of Bhattacharya. Now what happens is when you try to lay a city out, you give out contracts, just as it is today. And just as it happens today, everybody wants to become a contractor because There's money involved there. And so in those days, everybody got into brick building. But how do you control the quality of these bricks that would be needed to build a gigantic city? The idea of quality control was not known in those days. So Imam Abu Hanifa, he applied the principles of decimals to the construction of bricks. What he did was he asked the contractors to bring in and make piles, 100 this way, 10 the other way, and 10 up. And he would measure the length, the depth, as well as the height of each one of the collections of bricks to ensure uniformity of the bricks, so that some bricks are not big, some bricks are not small, and so on. So you see, this area has been a cradle of knowledge for a long time. Even during the Mughal period, up until very recent times, Uttar Pradesh, or the United Provinces, as it was called in the old days, was the cradle of knowledge. Now things seem to be somewhat different. Perhaps the candle has been passed on to people in the south, and we are learning more than the people in this area, but this thing will go back and forth. Now, a couple of other things too. The world that we live in is not the world that I was born into. When I started school, the British were still here. And my classroom had 2 rooms, 4 classes. The roof used to leak. We had nothing to write on because the British did not invest much money in the education of us Indians. But we had one good thing.